honest waiters. And I'm so glad to do this again. As you can tell by looking around me, I'm in a new location, and that's because I have moved into an apartment. So I've gone from living with the rents to living with rent. I just came home from church. Outside, there are kids playing in the, in the lawns. People walking their dogs. My next door neighbor was playing his his guitar. Oh my God. I just absolutely love this place. And as you can tell, I am still, painting. Also, I'm getting over a cold right now, so make sure you wash your hands after you watch this. Personal hygiene is important. So what I want to talk today about is, what do you do when you don't have a project to work on? If you're a pianist, you have what you can play. You have something there that you can do. If you're a painter, you kind of always have your art available to be working on. You can always have a project right there to do. For an actor, I think it can be somewhat more difficult to know, because what do we practice? We have practices that we go to when we're working on a project, but outside of those, what do we practice? I'm still trying to figure that out, but the best I can tell is you have to keep your physical, emotional, imaginative, and creative selves active. Keep movement. You have to keep things spinning, because after all, what do we say when we see a piece that we really like? We say, oh, it really moved me. And so I think the important thing is to keep movement going in your artistic self. Ways to do that: physically, stretching a lot is something I like to do. Reading plays helps me keep my imaginative, creative self going in my mind. I like to journal, so that also keeps kind of my emotional self active. It helps me stay in tune with myself. But it's not quite the same as acting in and of itself. And that's difficult to do when you don't have a role to play. And there's not a performance. How do you mimic that? Not necessarily mimic that, but how do you continue to better your performance aspect and better your ability to create and inhabit a role when you don't have a role to work on? I still don't know, but what I do know is I can do things where I know I struggle with performance-wise, and find how I struggle in a similar way in my everyday life, and try to stretch myself in my everyday life, knowing that that will extend my ability in my performance life. Taking risks on stage. Well, how can I take risks in my everyday life? What's something I'm uncomfortable doing in my everyday life that I can challenge myself to do, so that when I'm in a performance setting, I'm more able, more willing to take similar risks and larger risks. And that way you continue to extend yourself, to grow, and to get better. But let me know if you have any suggestions. What do you like to do when you're not, assigned a project necessarily?